Hey, it's Alex at Motoroso.com, your dedicated auto parts marketplace. Today we're in studio to do our install guide video on the white line sway bar and adjustable end link kit on our S550 Mustang project build. Now we just put BC Racing coilovers on, so the combination of these two is going to make this handling package fantastic, and we can't wait to show you out on the road how it performs. Now this should be a really easy installation, step-by-step instructions for you to follow along, so if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe to the channel because we've got lots more mods coming really soon. Now this kit is the BFK006 made by Whiteline, and you can shop for this and over 1 million top name brand products sold by trusted vendors at great prices, and the shipping is always free with no minimum at Motoroso.com. Let's get started. We made a more detailed video about the actual features of this white line kit in our product spotlight video. Go ahead and check that out at youtube.com/Motoroso if you want to learn more about this product package itself. But for this installation video, we're going to be taking you through step by step. We're going to be uninstalling the old equipment, obviously. Then we're going to be installing new bushings, the new sway bar, new end links, which will show you how to adjust, and new lateral locks. We're going to be doing this front and rear. The rear is much easier than the front, but the front can definitely be done. There's just a couple nuances, so follow along with the instructions as we go.
You're going to start by jacking up the car, putting it on jacks, and removing your front wheels. Next, remove your cold air intake. Now ours is a little different because this is a Roush supercharger, but yours should look pretty much the same. With your intake removed, you'll now have access to the two 18mm sway bar mount bolts, but you'll quickly find out that you can only remove one from the engine bay with a long extension. The other one you'll have to access from the driver's side wheel well using a box wrench. On the passenger side, it's much easier, and both bolts can be removed from the top using a long extension and an 18mm socket. With all four 18mm bolts out, begin undoing the end links with a 6mm Allen wrench and an 18mm combination wrench. Now that the end links are removed, you can fish out the sway bar by pulling it straight out and turning it to slide underneath the lower control arm. Now you're ready to slide the new sway bar in the same way you took the first one out. Now make sure you pay attention to the orientation of the bar so you don't put it in backwards. Once you get it most of the way in, it's actually helpful to finish pulling it through from the driver's side. First, slide your bushing on from the passenger side wheel well, and your second bushing on the driver's side from the engine bay. Apply threadlocker to your OEM hardware for the bushing hold-down brackets. Place your sway bar bushing hold-down brackets and thread your OEM hardware back in, but don't tighten them down just yet. With your sway bar in place, it's time to start putting your end links in. Now we recommend that you leave the lock nuts loose because you're going to have to adjust them with some weight on the vehicle, but we're not ready to do that yet. Go ahead and tighten down the sway bar end links though using a 17mm wrench and a 6mm Allen so that they're mounted in place. We recommend using the middle mounting hole on the sway bar as your medium initial setting, and you can adjust this later after you've had a chance to drive the vehicle. Now make sure to center the sway bar on the vehicle, having equal distance of the sway bars from the strut on each side, and then you're ready to fully tighten up all of the 4 18mm sway bar hold down brackets, making them nice and tight. Now you can install the supplied lateral locks, making sure that they're butted up nicely against the bushings. For the passenger side, you're going to need to move the coolant reservoir tank out of the way. With everything installed, go ahead and reinstall your intake. Now you can reinstall the wheels and lower the car down onto an elevated level like bricks or blocks so that you're still elevated and can access underneath the vehicle, but the suspension is actually weighted so that you can then adjust your end links. The key here is adjusting the end link by rotating it until it's loose and then moving it just to when you have initial tension and load on the bar, then tightening the lock nuts on both ends of the sway bar end link. Of course, make sure to repeat this on the left and the right side. That's the front end done. You can put the car down and let's move to the rear. From the rear of the car, jack it up from the differential and place the car on jack stands. Now use an 18mm wrench and a 6mm Allen to remove the stock end links. Next, remove the 4 13mm sway bar hold down bolts. We tried to remove the sway bar without taking off the rear wheel, but defeated, we had to take off the rear wheel so that we could finish sliding out the sway bar. With the old equipment out of the way, you can now place your new sway bar up into position, ready to mount. Make sure you get the orientation right, otherwise your sway bar end links won't connect properly. Now you can lubricate your bushings with the supplied polybednam grease, and don't be shy. Place your new bushings over the sway bar close to the mounting point. Then place your bracket and thread your bolts back in, making sure to use threadlocker. Don't tighten these down just yet. With the sway bar in place, go ahead and install your new adjustable end links using a 6mm Allen and a 17mm wrench, and go ahead and tighten down these brackets, remembering to leave the lock nuts loose. Making sure to center the sway bar to the car, go ahead and tighten down your 4 13mm hold down bolts for the sway bar. And of course, remember to install the supplied lateral locks, making sure that they're butted up nicely against the new bushings. Now, just like in the front, go ahead and reinstall your wheel and lower the vehicle down onto blocks so it's still elevated but the suspension is loaded. Now you're going to use two 17mm open-ended wrenches to carefully adjust the position of your sway bar end links to initial load, and then tighten down your lock nuts. Get the vehicle back on the ground and you've finished your installation of your white line front and rear sway bars.
All right, that wraps up our installation video for the Whiteline BFK 006 sway bars and end links. If you found the video helpful, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to the channel for all of our upcoming build projects and how-to installation guides. We got lots more going on in this Mustang and all the other builds in our stable. If you want to shop for these products and more, go to Motoroso.com where you can browse over 1 million top name brand products sold by trusted vendors at great prices, and the shipping is always free with no minimum. Thanks for watching.